I'll tell you, it definitely, when I read the book, it definitely took me back to when I was a kid and whatnot, and I could kind of, I didn't go into any caves or anything like that.
Don't go into caves.
But I did have woods behind my house and around my house and whatnot, and I just remember spending, hours and hours out there just kind of exploring and whatnot. So this just totally took me back, and, I kind of got a little nostalgic from it.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point, because I have the same thing, because I have woods right in my backyard. That's what we did too. We went out all day long and went and played in the woods.
Well, it's funny because I grew up in Florida, southern Florida, and we didn't really have woods, but I love wildlife. I love being outside. I love all that. And that's, as I started writing, I threw my kids in and I thought, okay, well, what can I have them do? Well, I can have them go into a cave and they can find spiders and snakes, and because I love snakes and I don't really care for spiders, but I tried to throw pieces of me and pieces of my kids into the story, and it's just having the turtles, and that's just part of what I love. And what I did is I went through a company called Author House, and I submitted the manuscript to them. I paid them money for the contract, and they designed the book cover, which I'm really happy with what they did with book 1. Book 2 is a little bit different, and I'm actually struggling with the cover with book 3 because I don't like the dragon that they have for it. But they designed the cover, they designed the galley, which is the guts.
So they do the artwork for you?
They do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. But then I have to do everything else myself. They charge extra. If I asked them what they would charge to proofread, and they said it would be, I think it was 5 cents a word, so it would have cost me $1,000 for them to proofread.
Additionally.
Yeah.
Wow.
And initially I got bookmarks from them, which was $300 for 1,000 bookmarks. It all costs money. They'll do anything for you. They'll mark it. They'll put it on the New York.
They give you the ability, as
yes.
long as you come up with the financing.
Yeah, if you have the money,
which
right.
is much different from having to become the cog in the machine
right.
of a major corporation. I'm
right.
assuming.
And at first I was really I did it because I still struggle with self-confidence as far as for my ability to make a difference. My ability, I'm afraid that adults are going to read the book and they're going to go, oh, there's typos, there's this, there's that. This doesn't make sense and it's stupid and whatever. But I'm learning that it is what it is, and it's my imagination. And some people are going to like it and some people aren't, and that's fine. But initially I went with self-publishing because I was afraid to try to submit it to a publisher. What I've learned since then is that because I've done it this way, I own the rights. I own the book. I own everything.
Oh.
If I were to go through a traditional publisher and if they were to accept it, I submitted the manuscript for book 3 in January, and I should have it in my hands in April. So it takes about 3 months.
Wow, that's not bad.
As long as, depending on how things go, like with the design of the cover and all that. If you submit it to a traditional publisher and if you get picked up, it takes like 18 months before it actually goes on the shelf. And because I'm doing a series and I'm trying to tell people, like when I finish book 2, I try to tell people, okay, book 3 is going to be out in April, and now I'm saying I'm hoping to do book 4, finish it by this summer and have it out for Christmas. Then I want to have book 5 out for probably next summer. If I was going through a traditional publisher, you wouldn't see book 5 for 3 years, probably. So it's just, I'm really happy now, finally, 3 years into it, I'm happy that I went this way because I own all of it. And if I want to, send it to a different printer, I can do that. But on the bad side, the flip side of that is that I have to do all the marketing. I have to do I set up my own book signings. I go to schools. I go to different events. I do all these different things on my own. And I have to, if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it for me. And that's very challenging.
But there's definitely something to be said for the writer now having more control over the process as
yes.
opposed to before with the whole machine with publishing or whatever. Not that it's a totally bad route. It's just a different route, but it seems like this is definitely puts it more in your hands, and you have more of the
you have a more say in what happens, right?
Like that.
It's your version of YouTube.
Yeah, well, it's kind of that, I was going to kind of bring that up. It's kind of like, the current, with the internet and everything like that, it just has there's a lot of ways that people can create now and not have to get permission to,
Right.
So it sounds like, that's what happened with this, is that you wanted to do this, and now you actually have the actual physical book. I mean, how was that when you first got the actual physical book in your hands? How did that feel to actually get through that process?
I wanted to cry.
Did you really?
I was, oh yeah, because
awesome.
you put all this blood, sweat, and tears into writing and trying to proofread, and then finally submitting the contract and making decisions, and all of a sudden now you have it in your hand. Mm-hmm. And I used to think that writing the book was the work. You know what? That's nothing. Writing the book is a piece of cake. Getting out there afterwards and trying to market them and just get the word out there. That's what is really the challenge now.
And too, like whenever you see like in a movie or something, they always talk about like how hard it is to write it, and they never show that part where you gotta get actually published for crying out loud. They never show that part,
Right.
You know, for crying out loud. So it's like it's kind of like the same thing with making movies or even television and stuff. Like everybody sees that the romanticized part of it. They never see the part. This is where the actual work comes in. This is the
Right.
hard part, doing all this. But that, yeah, and I must say, it's got to be so much more gratifying to have that book, and it just.
Oh, it
yeah.
is. It is. You know, seeing my name on the cover, and then actually, if you go to like Google and if you type in MJ Lair, I'm all over the place because I've created accounts on Author's Den and
Isn't that how
MySpace.
we kind of flounder?
Yeah, I mean that's.
I want to
that's-
say it. We Googled you.
Yeah, and
Googled ya?
that's a really neat feeling too, to see your name on the internet, you know, and for all the different events, because I post all my events on my website, and I also post them on Author's Den, and those, you know, whether the events are done, they keep coming up, you know, they keep getting hits, because if people hit them, you know, it pops them up there in the search engine, so.
Yeah, look at the numbers. You're talking about the numbers. You told me about it before. Like, you say Barnes and Noble, not so much, but you're saying Borders. You're kicking some butt.
Yeah, I've gotten into, I believe, 10 Borders and Borders Express stores in the state now, and the Meriden store in the mall is actually it was my best store. I haven't touched base with them in the last couple months, but I believe they sold over 100 books in about a 4-month period.
That's just
So they were doing great. I think I've probably sold 1,500 books in about 2 years on my own, and that's with working a full-time job and raising teenagers on my own. And so, you know, I'm really proud of myself that I'm doing
that.
that.
That is awesome.
But
That
you
is
know,
really
I'd still
awesome.
love to see the numbers, you know, get up there more, because, you know, I just, I don't know. I want, you know, word of mouth. I know word of mouth is a great thing, and I've actually had people say, you know, I've heard of your book. So I went to the Big E, the Kappa group that I have. They did they got a booth up there with books in the Connecticut building,
Oh, really?
and I was there the
They
last
gonna be there
weekend.
this year?
Yeah,
I'll
we're going to
visit
be there.
you.
Okay,
I
that'll
do
be
it all
cool.
the time,
That'll be cool.
seriously.
Yeah, we were there, and I did we had shifts where we were either there from 9 to 3 or 3 to 9, and I was there from 3 to 9 Saturday and from 9 to 3 on Sunday. I spent the night in a hotel up there, so I didn't have to drive back.
Yeah,
and,
that's.
yeah, and I sold 50 books over that 12-hour period.
You know what? I did see the locals authors table because my friend, somebody had a horse book or something, I think.
Probably.
And that's so
Yeah.
crazy that you were there. Sorry, I'm having a moment. It is like my, 5
But
years
it
of-
was really neat, because this one girl came up to me and she said, "Oh, I've seen your book," and I'm thinking, "Okay, do you live down in Norwich? You know, because I'm down
Yeah.
in southeastern Connecticut." And she goes, "No, I live in Massachusetts," and I was like, "I haven't been to Massachusetts yet, but that's great."
Yeah, it's
So
starting to travel.
Go to New England. Hey, the internet takes you anywhere too.
definitely, yeah.
That's the best thing about it. So, and with your promoting yourself too,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, you never know where it takes you. And you know what? I'm sad by the amount of books you have published in such a short time too. And like you're saying, that goes back to the time schedule. You're allowed to have that really quickly. So that's
Right. Well, that's another thing I was really proud of, is I started writing book 1 in March of '05. I finished it. It was published in January of '06. I started book 2, I think, in January, and I had it published in November of '06. So in 10 months, in 20 months, I put 2 books out. And now it's been about a year and a half for book 3, because I had... life is just too busy now. I
Yeah.
can't put them out like I used to, but you know, I'm hoping maybe I'd have book 4 out a lot quicker this time, because now it took me probably halfway into book 3 to actually have an idea of now where the whole series is going. Because when I started, I just started kids going to the cave, they find a turtle, they find a snake, they find this, and there's going to be sorcerers and dragons somewhere down the line. And before I know it, now I'm halfway through book 3, and now I'm thinking, okay, book 4 is going to be the girls going after this one amulet, and book 5 is probably going to be the final battle. I'm going to have to somehow bring all these characters back together. So there might be a book 6 or a book 7, but I'm planning on at least 5.